I set it up by copy and pasting this code from the p5.js reference. What I want to show you is the difference between MouseIsPressed and they have a function called MousePressed. It's a subtle difference, and it matters later on when we make more complicated games. You may choose to use one over the other, although the code looks very similar, right? So here, notice we have it working. You add your p5.js to a new pen whenever you start one. And if you click run, each time you click your mouse, notice it goes from a rectangle, a square to a circle, correct? So let's walk through the code and explain what's happening. Your draw, it defines a pinkish background. Your fill, your stroke, your paintbrush right now is of a black color. And so if the mouse is pressed, notice this value is either true or false. You either are pressing the mouse or you're not. If you are pressing the mouse, then a circle is drawn. And notice right now we have a square being drawn. That's what the else is doing. The else is the catch-all. So if the first part is not true, then the else is the part that is happening. Notice that if you had these two kind of go together, that was kind of the point of the quiz question towards the end about the text. This else belongs with this if block, this block of code. If you have it somewhere else, the else keyword is tied to that section of code. For example, let's do something like this. If key is pressed, another similar function that takes, or another similar variable here that denotes whether or not a key is pressed. Let's have it be a larger ellipse at the same coordinates, 50, 50, and we're going to be double the size, okay? So we click run. Notice right now, right now, I'm clicking the screen as much as I can. On my videos, you just see the clicking stuff. Notice right now it doesn't change. But instead, I'm going to press spacebar, and you notice it does have that change. The else right now belongs to key pressed. This if block happens separately compared to this one. It's a very subtle behavior. It's a subtle change in the logic. Notice right now my mouse is just moving, but I'm not pressing on it, and we see a square. Why is that? It happens because right now the key is not being pressed. Now I'm going to hold down spacebar, and now when I press my key, I don't see anything different. Well, that's because I have a smaller ellipse inside here. And to prove it to you, let's change the color. Fill 255. And the behavior, save and run, is my spacebar is being held down, and now I click. Okay? Else's where they are important. And the main point of the lecture, let's see this similar function. This is how you use MouseIsPressed. Notice the is being in between. MouseIsPressed is a variable. You're playing around in this assignment with built-in variables to p5.js. Sometimes those are called environment variables. The library already has those calculated, so you don't have to figure them out. MouseIsPressed is one of them. Is it pressed or is it not? The second part of code uses a function, which was also on your quiz 2 previewing those ideas. You messed with functions before. That was shown in show mouse coordinates. This is similar to that. So now as I save and run this code, notice when the mouse is pressed, it now is a function outside. Either it is pressed or not. So right now, I'm not pressing on the mouse. Let's see why it is a color of 255. So we fill it based on value. Right now, it should have been 0. We expect it to be black colored, but our rectangle is white colored. Let's see. Let me start again from the beginning just to double check. Right, so it's because I clicked my mouse. At the very beginning, I saved and reset. It starts out black. This code has not run yet. This function has not executed. So now when I click the mouse, just once, notice that it swapped. So when I did click the mouse, value was 0. So now value turned to 255, which matches the color white. When I press it again, this function is run. Value is 255. It's not 0. So that's why the else block runs. And the value of value is now 0. So that's how you get a toggling behavior through the use of a variable. They are syntactically different. Be careful on how you copy and paste, especially those other variables that have the is word there. Those are variables versus mouse pressed, key down. Those are functions. Pay attention to that as you're borrowing code from the reference, and I'll tell you a bit more about it tomorrow. Hope that's helpful.